In Grow It, Show It, we not only encounter images spanning from the 1840s calotypes to contemporary TikToks, but also several series arranged in clusters and grids. Much like typological studies, these photographs share structural similarities in framing, lighting, and composition. And for example, you can see here the images by J.D. Ojake, and another example would be Satomi Nihongi's images from Tokyo in the 1970s. The arrangement in clusters emphasizes repetition and invites comparison, all within a carefully controlled framework. Now, let us turn to Bernd Stiegler, Professor of New German Literature in Media Contexts at the University of Konstanz. Although he cannot join us live today, he has pre-recorded a contribution that expands on his catalog essay, Hairy Identities, and the idea of a hairy cluster.
Hello, I'm very sorry that I cannot be with you in person today, and that traveling to a distant place has already made it necessary to make a recording. So that's why I'm only the talking head here today, speaking to you from the machine. Apropos the talking heads, for sure you know the band with this name. As you can see, now I'm going to share the screen. As you can see, the Talking Heads had a penchant for tableaus and grids on their album covers. Here are some of them. The next one. And this is what I find equally remarkable about many of the photographs that revolve around the theme of hair. Hair, at least if we talk about haircuts and hairstyles, is often represented in grids in what you call in French tableau. So a kind of organized presentation of several photographs. The big issue, if you talk and think about hair, is identity. Every single hair is not as different as a snowflake, which are, as you know, as you might know, is singular. Every snowflake is an individual and single one. Hairs are different, but not all of them. There are several types, but the whorls on your heads, your hair structure, and finally, of course, the particular haircut, even if there is none, just in my case, seeks to draw a distinction, seeks to mark a difference. The classical way to represent visual differences is a series of singular photographs or a tableau. So if you look for prominent depictions of hair in the history of photography, you quickly come across collections of similar pictures, clusters, and grids as identities are negotiated through them. In other words, we end up back at the Talking Heads best of cover. You can see it here, where they ludicrously and in a very funny way play with identities. Somewhere between a mugshot and a hairdresser's poster. Which hairstyle would you choose? And what identity would you want to express with it? This is the question, not only for the talking heads, so for every talking head and for you as well. Hair and identity are obviously linked. Hair is a physical marker of identity, and identities not only in a singular term as a singular term, but in a multiplicity. Hair is a physical marker of identities that you want to show, and not only to show, but to live. A hairstyle is a style of living. So if you walk through the exhibition and look at the photograph, you will realize that many of them could have functions as posters in barbers' shops, as you can see them here. They have, you will see too, a post-colonial impact, which is sometimes pretty strong. The exhibition is thus a kind of historical cartography of individual, sometimes style-defining forms of staging. In David Octavius Hill's and Robert Adamson's work around 1850, the entire squad of prominent women and men form a tableau of textbook poses, all serious and in the pose of melancholy, Naturally, most of them with a book, just in the famous in the famous picture, in the famous work of Albrecht Dürer, and widely individual hairstyles. The series makes it clear that this is about attitude and what Bourdieu calls habitus. Whoever is portrayed here has an impact far beyond the moment the picture was taken and serves as a role model. More than a century later, Satomi Nihongi's extensive series of long hairstyles from Tokyo in the 1970s reveals, even at a cursory glance, that the rock stars of the time served as role models for him and for the people portrayed by him. It is a historical inventory of an attitude to life, reflected in hairstyles and clothing, archived here schematically in the form of a front and back, positive and negative double. Even though the shots are extremely flat and low contrast, and the people are almost reduced to black and white areas, the hair is one of the reasons why they still remain alive. The abundance of different people and hairstyles is not aimed at differentiation, at identifying the subtle differences, but rather at visualizing a common appearance despite all the differences. The common difference is already a principle of life. In her long-time series, Herlinde Kölbel has shown the habitus, so again the Bourdieusian, the term of Bourdieu, of an individual, how the habitus of an individual can change. In her book Spuren der Macht, Traces of Power, she follows politicians over the years and portraits them in comparable settings. One photo a year is taken. The sequential form makes visible, on the one hand, the inexorable process of aging, which is counteracted on the other hand by ever new self-designs. So the people are changing all the time. Man ages and reinvents himself again and again and again and again. Sometimes it stops, but that's another question. This can be seen not least in the different hairstyles which have to fit in with a new self-image and play a decisive role in determining its performance. In the case of Angela Merkel, for example, whose changes we witness in the selected portraits, the length of her hair remains almost the same over the year, and yet the hairstyles signal a different type of public appearance in each case. Almost 50 years before Kölbel and Nihongi, August Sander's famous portfolio People of the 20th Century, mentioned the 20th Jahrhunderts, focused on the study of visible differences in one's own self-presentation. His book Antlitz der Zeit, Face of the Time, was early characterized as a sort of educational atlas that used photography to make societies readable and to develop this ability in the readers of the book and the viewers of the photograph. There are subtle differences here, and you have to figure them out. That's your task. Seek for the differences. Sander has already pre-sorted the world and arranged it in portfolios whose objective is a kind of visualization of social distinctions. The hairstyles of the people portrayed by Sander are very, very different, revealing, similar to clothing, the society and the particular social class of which the person portrayed may dream, and simultaneously how the person locates herself in the present. We see looking at hair is an invitation to study, and that's not the worst attitude we can have towards photographs. Forget Bart's punctum and start your study. Thank you very much.